Hello everybody, this is ZigZagZog coming to you from somewhere in this world, and we're back to continue our playthrough of Empire Total War, featuring Darthmod and the 40 unit saves version, playing as the Poland-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And now is the time to commence our, I guess we'll call it a three-pronged attack, even though one of those prongs is right in our backyard. It's still a three-pronged attack. And speaking of three prongs, there's actually one thing I want to do first, so I do not forget. If we go down to my agent, where are my rakes? Oh, they're up at the top. I believe it's this guy in the Moscow. Well, he's a long way from Moscow, but he's in the Muscovy territory, and we want to send him south, because as soon as possible, I want to get some eyes over here in the Crimean Khanate down here to make sure. I'm assuming, and you know that's not a good thing to do, that the bulk of their forces are over in Brandenburg. But I need to make sure, because that will definitely make a difference. Let's see, this is the road that I want to be on. So we're going to bring our rake down here. A little faster than that. There we go. Because I want to start gaining vision, and that'll be fortunately next turn. Hopefully that's not too late. Because this army is going to take, well, we're going to be moving in on Moldavia, but we got to be prepared for this army that we know about, the strength of their forces in the area down by Istanbul. We definitely, potentially can have a lot to contend with, and it can kind of tip the balance if there's any significant force over here that decides to join them. So I need to find that out earlier rather than later. So what we're going to do is we're going to start over here where we were, right here, advancing into Sarajevo. Good thing about advancing into Sarajevo, we get another port. That's important. We also have a mine possibility here that they haven't done anything about. So we definitely have some upgrades we can easily make over here. Turkish bath, which I think is our version of the body house that we build up in our area. So somehow I like the idea of the Turkish bath a lot better. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's advance. That's our goal right now. Blow the horns, call on the advance, and let's move on Sarajevo and make this happen. We need our 1700 version of the Blitzkrieg, because I would like to get over to Bulgaria ASAP, so that we are then in range to support if this army starts marching north towards Moldavia. Or if that army decides to try and blunt us, well, then we got our army in Moldavia that can come down to help. You know how that works. So let's get going. And we definitely have an advantage here, but guess what? We're fighting. That's what we do. We'll see if they surrender, but since there's a force there, they won't. But that's just habit. I always check that first. We outnumber them almost 7,400 to their almost 4,400. Artillery pieces, we do outnumber them barely. And they also have the demi cannons, so they have the better cannons, which actually outrange us. Their style of demi cannons has let's face it, it outclasses us. They have better range with the same accuracy, not by a lot, but it's better range. So let's see how this goes. We'll see you down on the battlefield. Okay, looks like we're gonna have the city landscape in between us. Their deployment zone would appear to be smack dab right behind the city here. The good thing is the AI does usually does not set up artillery pieces well in this city environment. It is not uncommon to see them set up their artillery right here and shoot into the buildings. So that may help us in this battle. So let me figure out what I feel is the best place for my 3 regiments of artillery, and then we'll get this thing going. Okay, here's the grand plan, the grand setup that we've decided to go with. We have 1 regiment of artillery over here on the left on this little hillock. It still is not a perfect hillside from which to command the field, but it does do an okay job of picking up the left side of their deployment zone. It's going to be tough for any shots to get through the city in any effective way. So we're planning to at least we just have this one regiment here just to cover on the side, and the view from the hillside isn't perfect, but it's good enough for this side. We also have 3 units or a regiment of horse on this side. We're stacked a slight bit stronger on this side to cover this flank. We're also stacked up here due to the terrain restrictions I have here. Can't have any kind of continuous line to the left of our artillery. So I have these first 4 units, which includes all our expat infantry, which is very solid. These 4 units are going to advance and expand over to these hills as their starting position, and this remaining line of regiment of foot will kind of fill the void right here, kind of as a reserve. And we got pikemen behind each of our artillery units. In the center, the plan to move through the city is this is where we're going to lean on our grenadiers, and we're also going to send in our warband units to kind of act as that sniping power. If we can gain access to a building to snipe from, that kind of a thing in the interior. There's a building here. We got to be careful of there's a building here. We got to be careful depending on how their setup is. Those cannon can quickly destroy these buildings that we're able to gain access to, but that'd be kind of cool to be able to snipe from some buildings, I'm thinking. And the grenadiers in interior city battles with their grenade abilities, I think we got a decent plan to move through the cities. And then we also just have one regiment of foot to join them. With these 2 regiments of reserve, we'll just move up and fill the gap as they advance. We do have a regular main line with some reserves that'll kind of hang back at first. We're going to be advancing more on the left and through the city and staying a little bit static on this side. We have both regiments, our remaining regiments of artillery on this side, because that's the most open part of the map for us to access and bombard. We still don't know how they're going to set up, but that's how we're doing it here. And we do have a couple regiment of cavalry over here. So that is our setup, with the general controlling and commanding it all from the center. We'll hopefully be successful. I think what we'll start with is these units on the side will be our first advance once we get this going. So let's go find out what their deployment is like. And they are set up behind these buildings, so we do have tiny bit of protection until we're able to get up there. So let's start expanding over on this wing to take this hill. And we are also going to, unfortunately, if you didn't notice, their artillery pieces are greatly embedded in their defensive positions. So we coming in around a flank on either side is good for us as far as getting out of the range. Their artillery does not have a great ability to pivot. And now we will start our advance up through the middle of the town with our 2 units of grenadiers here. We'll start off. We'll just come straight through the center right here, and we'll adjust once we get there. Let's see about getting initially. I don't think this building could be under threat, but we're going to move one of them here initially, and the other unit we'll start out without taking a building initially. We'll move up here and then kind of see how they react, and then we'll figure out where our best positions are from that point. And they're setting up their line. We do have to be careful with cavalry. There's a smattering and scattered defensive positions that definitely can wreak havoc on our artillery. And the bombardment of their artillery positions is going. We're getting minor casualties. The defensive positions really do help artillery. You know, you get the good defense, but it comes at a cost of your range. You can't pivot to the side, and guess where we are? They probably can't re-bombard our units off to the side. There's that chance. So we're gonna get our cavalry out to the wings, And what I've decided, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to keep this side of the line that static. Oh yeah, we wanted to get this line infantry forward also, so let's move them forward. These guys are the reserves to plug up the line in the center. And we're going to start advancing on the wing over here, since it doesn't seem to be any great threat. To be quite honest, it doesn't look like we're going to have any kind of dramatic advance on their part. I mean, we are the attacker. So let's take these 4 regiments here and also come out on the wing and see about threatening both wings. We've kind of done that before in a campaign. Threaten their flanks when they have their artillery that cannot pivot. We're going to do that. And then our remaining line in the center is not threatened because of all the buildings in the way. So there you go. We'll move our generals forward just a tiny bit. We wanted to bring this unit up to cover the gap on this side in case they have cavalry that decides to get aggressive. And that's one thing I forgot to check, is the makeup of their army. It does not appear that they have any cavalry to speak of that we're going to have to worry about so much. So that's to our advantage. We have the mobile advantage. And our left move is almost in place. Let's see how we're looking in the city center. We got our sharpshooters in this building. Not that anyone is really going to be close enough, so we may have to move them forward out of that building. And how do I want to advance my grenadiers? I think we'll move one of the regiments right here, out of sight of their artillery. We'll move another unit over here. I think what we're going to end up doing is charging and grenading as best we can. We're going to have to put up with canister fire. Kind of keep them hiding behind the buildings. This unit, I'm going to see about taking this. It can hold 174, and I happen to have 160. So we can fit into this building as long as our grenadiers... Oh, we got some units advancing on us. So we're gonna actually join. Can 2 units get into a building? Apparently not. We're gonna bring the skirmishers out to the side here at a run. If we have a chance to take this building, we will. And it looks like we will be ignoring the cavalry, I mean the artillery here in the center, to go after this unit. Get our other grenadiers over here. They're already taking fire from our sharpshooters, and pretty soon they're going to be taking fire from the grenadiers. Run, 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 guys. Get around these buildings. Let's get set up. And I think a nice round of grenades is called for while they're waiting to get set up. That'll stir them up, huh? Now we want to get in position to fire. And they're taking shots from all sides, so the city battle is definitely in our favor, having them only sent 1 regiment our way. Although more units are now starting to advance towards the city and towards our flank setup. So let's be ready for that. The good thing about our flank setup is we have the cavalry advantage here. Let's run the rest of the way to try and get set up first. And what we're going to order these units to start firing on their infantry units, so that their move against us can be weakened a little bit. We'll let their artillery go because they're limited on how they can react to us. And we have caused the first retreat in the city here. With that in mind, we're going to take this building with our sharpshooters. I like having them being able to pepper the enemy. And we need to bring our flank units forward to help support. These expatriates are strong units, and I want to get them in position as quickly as possible to help support our snipers in the building. And we also have the cavalry out here to also help this attack. We'll bring them a little farther forward to help outflank that position. Let's run, guys. Let's take that building. We need you in that building yesterday. And what we're going to do, whoops, we're not going to take that unit. We're going to take our 2 units of grenadiers and get them positioned over here. At a run. Everything's at a run and in a hurry, needing to get done yesterday. And they do have a unit kind of headed towards the artillery that we got to keep our eyes on, but we repulsed the first armed populist unit. They will they're good at reforming. They have huge numbers, just low morale, so they break a lot. And it looks like they've reoriented towards the center of the city, which maybe we need to with our line of foot here. Now we have a little bit of a gap in our line that we got to keep our eye on also. So we're going to bring this infantry unit to kind of plug this gap here. And we have a reserve unit over here I'm going to bring over to aid in our city battle also. And we have hand-to-hand combat with the grenadiers. And these units are firing over here. Is there anyone left over here? Wow. We're going to bring... Oh, they're heading into the town. Let's bring one of our regiments of horse over here. They're trying to take over the building that we have. We're going to try to get one of the regiments of horse over here to help battle those units that are outside of the building. And right now, these 2 units are going to advance against the artillery. And hopefully our grenadiers, we got caught by surprise as ZigZag was not as ready as he could have been. We're going to bring some more infantry units up in the center. For support, although I have confidence in my grenadiers. And having our cavalry come out, I can't even, I swear, switching from cavalry to artillery and I mix them up back and forth. I have issues speaking sometimes. We're going to charge right now. We do have, let's see, let's get this one unit over here if we can, so we can avoid the defenses. We're going to get another unit right here, trying to avoid the defenses so it doesn't rip through our cavalry. And how are we doing in this city center? They've closed in on our unit here, and we need some support and in a hurry. I'm going to break off this line infantry unit over here to provide some flanking fire to this regiment that's hanging tough. We have our first line infantry that's broken, and we need some support over here. We need some artillery also to fire down over here and prevent them from rolling up our flanking maneuver. Okay, we got some reserves coming in here now, although we've managed to hold and drive them off, so we'll let those guys keep going. This is where we're having problems here. In fact, we're going hand to hand. Since we're slowly driving them off in the center, let's have our other grenadiers come in on the side. Well, I guess it's not so much on the side. I could have looped them around to maybe have a more effective attack, but they're all melee now. And what have we got here? Our cavalry has driven them off, and I think this cavalry needs to, now that we've cleared these defenses, and they're retreating right through our regiment here. We're going to bring our cavalry in to totally take care of their artillery. What have we got back here? Some janissaries are reforming. Okay, so we've solidified this issue over on the side. Our regiment that was getting hammered on the flank has reformed. We'll bring them back up. And artillery pieces, we're going to reorient over here to this wavering unit. And then reassess real quick where we are. So we've knocked out their artillery officially. They're retreating in all areas where we've met them. So I think it's time to bring our cavalry out here to start running anyone down to make sure they don't reform, a la the Janissaries over here. Let's take our cavalry since they're marching. Let's see if we can charge into their side. Well, they're not ready for us. Although, hopefully they won't get too near those defenses, or we can at least back off. Well, there's one. Yeah, there's a couple that are gonna fall if they keep standing there. All right, we have them falling. Let's keep our cavalry moving away from the defenses here. We lost a few units because of them. I think it's time to silence the cannon, and the battle is over. Being a city battle, we don't have to worry about running down retreating forces, so let's end it right here. And we got ourselves a heroic victory. All right, we lost 565 to their 4372, and we have taken over Sarajevo. Good job. And look at that. I never even noticed there was a little fort over here in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, anyone who lives near Fort unpronounceable. Kliuk? I don't know how to pronounce it in this region, so sorry. Anybody that knows, let me know. Let's see. As far as Sarajevo, what we can do, we can repair. How is the public order? So we'll probably have to leave a smattering behind to maintain the public order. Occupation resistance, there's definite, look at that, 7 religious. That's what's causing us to have to leave some units in reserve. We do see a loose band of units over here that we may have to see about addressing, but we can't quite reach them this turn. So let's do this. Let's start out this way. We've got the funds. Let's take a look at our army. And to replenish a little over 2,000, we can afford it. At this point, we're just going to rebuild the building that's there. And at some point, we can see about converting it to our own style building at some point in the future. We obviously can upgrade trading ports. We've got farms, but we're focused on moving. We're focused on the battles at hand first. So let's take a look at our next pincer movement over here. We're heading down to this regional capital and hovering over it. Okay, there we go. Now I do not know that city name. I-A-S with the tail. Iashi in Moldavia. Never listen to my pronunciations. They're always totally Americanized. Now it looks like because we have that reinforcing cannon in here, artillery piece, that's the one. He will not advance directly with us. We'll let him advance to his limit alone, and then the rest of the army can still make it for this attack. So we'll call him our reserve reinforcing unit as we move against Moldavia. And hopefully we can be successful over here too, because this particular army, this flank, has the potential to be meeting up with the biggest of the Ottoman's forces. No surrender, and I don't know if I've ever seen a surrender when they have more forces helping out the garrison. 6,304 versus 50. So they outnumber us, but if you look at some of these, it's just the mob. So, you know, there's 4 units a mob, and that alone is, what, 2,400 of their that's almost getting close to half their forces. So there are some units to be aware of. The irregulars could do some damage in melee, so we got to be ready to enclose in melee. Let's get down there. Enough analyzing and chit chat. Let's fight. No cavalry. That will be our advantage on this one also. Okay, so our battlefield is slightly different than our last setup. There is a city involved, but it's more off to the back and the side, so it's probably not going to be an issue on this battlefield. What I have to do is just see some points that maybe don't have too many, because there's a lot of hills out here that we're going to have to, yeah, you see our artillery right now is kind of out of sight over the top of the rise of the hill here. So that's definitely an issue. So what we're going to do is to see if I can come up with the best possible starting spots for our artillery and the rest of the line to form around it, and we'll be right back. All right, we are set up. General commanding the forces from the center and the rear. We split up our artillery units, and we did not have the perfect spots to set up hill-wise. The option would be keep ourselves limbered and move forward just a little bit to the crest of this hill, so that we then command the battlefield and approach it that way. But I decided I want them firing right off the bat, and while we are not quite at the crest of the hill, we're still going to have pretty clear view to be able to fire unhindered on the battlefield in the distance. The only problem is when they enclose. Normally I would switch to canister fire and take them out that way, but we have very short range canister fire on this one, which is probably too close. I don't want them to get that close and switch to canister, because right here, just a little bit over the hill, if they were down in this area, I shoot canister fire, it's pretty much going to go over their heads, because they dip down out of our view here. So we just have to, and both our positions on either side have that same issue. So 2 options: limber up and just move forward and don't start firing right off the bat, or set up where we want. And I went for the let's just pepper them at a distance play. I have the pikemen to protect us instead of canister fire if they come in close, and we're just going to play it that way. Otherwise, the rest of the line is pretty standard style setup with line infantry and reserves cavalry on the wings. It's a little bit of a bent line over on this side. Decided to take advantage of that. If we have an opportunity to come out and do some flanking, we'll extend this line and forego the reserves. We'll just see how that works. I do have a unit of lancers over here for hopefully some positive charges on our part. Other than that, I only have these grenadiers reinforcing the center. I guess you can say the general is available to reinforce the center against a center charge, and then on the wings we have plenty. Another unit of grenadiers over here to help reinforce the line from any melee charges, and they are melee, highly melee-based forces that we're facing, so I expect a lot of melee combat, to be quite honest. So let's go see how they're starting and get this thing going. We'll let the cannon just pick their own targets, and they're very bunched up in the center, and let's be aware there's a lot of anti-cavalry defenses in the background. So let's I think what we're going to do, we're going to be aggressive on the wings here. Well, with this unit at least. These reserves, we're actually going to extend our line out with our reserves, I think. So I think I'm in better position. If they advance on us, we can maybe have some movement down the line with our forces in a flanking kind of maneuver. We'll get our cavalry out on the wings also, ready to support us on this side. What do I want to do over here? How are they moving? They got some forces kind of out on the wings over here. So maybe what we do is I'll take this unit right off the bat and have it reinforced farther out. Just have it more out on the wings to help us if we should need it. Because we don't... Well, armed populace is not as threatening. This unit, the Orta units are a little stronger. There's the garrison. That's more of a garrison unit. So they're kind of forming their lines based on our setup. I think we'll keep it like this. The one thing I will look at doing is extend my cavalry out here just a little bit for now. I'm expecting a lot of melee charges on this battle. They're moving our way over on this side too. They have just some random unit. That's their reserve unit. I'm thinking, since we're not going to get canister support there anyway, let's advance our line a little bit against this maneuver. And if it ends up they're not going to be nearby us in any way, shape, or form, or able to make an advance here, we'll bring the pikemen forward to support our hand-to-hand combat. And we'll start maneuvering on this flank already. In fact, we'll bring forward the cavalry over here again so we can get some charges. Uh-oh, we got some hidden units over here. Let's get into place, gentlemen. Let's get our cavalry out on the wings to support them at a run. And they're closing for the first attack. We're going to go side charge. A couple of them are turning to face us. And the charge was a little off target. Let's try that one again. We'll bring in the cavalry unit for a charge. Oh, and they're faltering. They're bringing more units over this way, so let's just back off our cavalry for the moment so we have a better situation with which to charge. In fact, they're running towards our cavalry. They want to take on our cavalry separate. Let's bring the cavalry back behind our line. I would rather weaken them first with some musket fire. In fact, we're going to bring this unit in a run over this way. They definitely want to go for our cavalry. We need you to run, get in position to fire. Okay, they've already rebounded and they're coming back at us again. You need to hustle. They're coming at us hard right now. They're coming at us hard. I think it's time to bring our pikemen forward, in case they pivot and go for our cavalry. And we're going to have some big time melee action going on right now. Like right here, we have it. Right here, we have it. Time for musket fire is over. The time for sword is upon us. We have units that can help us. We're going to bring the Uhlans out this way to rear charge here. And we're just going to charge the provincial cavalry in over here. And we're going to bring our pikemen at a run over here to close in on their rear. And we got to do it fast so we before our line infantry collapses, because we do not have a lot of support. We got a lot of action going on over here, but nothing that would appear overwhelming. Bring our units in here. So how are we looking? Yeah, we've held up so far over here. So yeah, the reserves are in good shape here. Let's bring you over here to run. Once again, they seem to be interested in going for our cavalry, and they already have. But the cavalry is holding up. Let's just run in and engage them in melee. They're shattered. Bring our cavalry out to the wings, and then we got to get back here to make sure we're holding up okay. And we got to bring our cavalry to charge in on the rear to kind of break up that melee attack. And is there anything else I want to do at the moment? I don't want to get into a lot of their defenses over here. This unit is shattered. This unit is shattered. We're going to bring our other cavalry unit over here. Kind of be ready to help out. Let's see how this flank on this side. We still have a stubborn unit I see in there. Our pikemen are charging out. Let's bring them back and see if we can't reform just a little bit. Cavalry did its job. Back to Uhlans. They're broken. Let's see if we can't shatter them. Charge in and shatter them. That's my goal here. We have them shattered. Let's bring you back out now. And we have this side under control, and we're able to reform. So we seem to have repulsed them, and we're doing okay as far as holding up against them. Where are my cavalry units? What are we looking at? Broken. Let's charge into the broken units. See if we can keep them from reforming. Do I have another cavalry unit back here? They're shattered. Let's bring them forward and try to run them down. We'll let our muskets work on these guys in the middle. The enemy general has fallen, so that's not going to help their morale at all. In fact, they're breaking in the center. Now it's just a matter of staying away from these anti-cavalry defenses and breaking as many units as... And we just broke them all. The battle is over. It's a heroic victory. Some kind of achievement unlocked. I don't know what, but anyway, heroic victory. All right, we lost 669 men and basically took over the city and conquered all their forces. There we go. Let's kind of take a look at yeah, we're not going to be able to move out exactly as fast as we might have preferred. Let's repair the building there. Let's recruit in our armed forces. It costs, what, about 2,100, a little over that, and we can afford it. So our first initial forays into Ottoman territory have been successful. Of course, we have not faced the largest of their armies yet. And we'll find out next turn if there's any forces that come up over here to challenge us and what this picture is going to end up looking like. The next thing, is there any other place I need eyes over here? And I think not. We can see here, we can kind of see there. I guess I know what we have over here. And I kind of need to keep my eyes on them. So we're going to keep our rake there. I'm curious about any kind of forces they might have down in Greece, but we'll have to figure that out later. So the first thing I'm going to do is start upgrading the infrastructure. We've got dirt roads just don't cut it for me. We want to be able to be as mobile as possible. It may not help us on our initial forays into the Ottoman territory, but when it comes time to have to reposition due to some other surprises, they'll be invaluable. So we're going to start with the infrastructure there. Now we have one more part of the third part of the prong, and that is right up here in our interior. We got our biggest of the three opening battles to take place against the Crimean Khanate here up in Brandenburg. So I'm going to actually cut this action until next time. I know. Oh. But we got 2 battles in on this one. This episode, fortunately following an episode which was mostly repositioning, now we got back to the battle routine. So we're going to do this one next time. I hope you enjoyed today's battle. I hope you enjoyed the progress we've made. We've started out making. Now we got to see if we can't get rid of this thorn in our side, in our interior. The next challenge, because they can retreat, so we're really going to have to get a handle on them so they don't start running around with their remnants just destroying our infrastructure. So we're going to say goodbye now. This is ZigZagZog signing off from somewhere in this world. Appreciate you watching. Always appreciate hearing from you, your ideas, your thoughts. Feel free to comment anytime, and I hope to see you next time.